Head-to-head. A team that really shouldn't be in this position. They were expected to win their group, but they haven't. It's Epsilon who go head-to-head with Planetkey Dynamics. Let's go back to the commentary team for our final game of the group stages.
Indeed, final game of the group stages coming up, and it's not the game I expected to see at this point. Epsilon struggling, let's be really honest here in their performances, not having the easiest of routes, you know, for a team that has been the second place to Fnatic, consistently touted as such.
Living in the shadow is
you may say. And the team that didn't quite look that potent in their plays. They didn't quite have that edge that I'm used to, but regardless, they've done okay.
Yeah.
Not quite to their caliber, I feel. Whereas Planetkey Dynamics, I didn't see too much of them earlier. Obviously, you and Jason casted it.
Yeah.
How did they look? How did they fare?
Ooh, it was more of a case of ESC not really showing up for that one, I think. I spoke to them afterwards and they weren't particularly happy with their performance. PKD, all credit to them, they came out on top, but there was more to be seen from them. I don't think we saw them at their best, and if we did, then this game is going to be very one-sided.
Most certainly. And to me, I think you spot on there. When I was watching ESC, the maps they started to do well on, I was like, oh, I get that. But ESC just never really gave much of a contest. It was always a little bit lacking, a little bit behind. It was never quite there. So this to me now is who can turn up better in the moments? Who can really get themselves going into this one? Because otherwise, you know, what are we going to be left with? It's going to be a bit of a disjointed display, and obviously MYM beating Epsilon in the upper side of the initial group stages towards the A group. It was just a bit, well, not necessarily a surprise, but it wasn't what I really expected to see from Epsilon. They're a team that should be stronger than that.
They certainly, well, I mean, they should be, but I have to, all credit to them, the MYM game was close. The one I was watching you guys,
yes, it was.
It was hard fought. So yeah, Epsilon, they
and played with issues, let's be honest.
Oh gosh, I forgot all about those. Yeah, you're right. So they basically, they had to overcome a lot of obstacles to try and get anything. They did secure a map, so obviously 2-1 in favor of MYM in that game. And obviously now this Epsilon Planetkey game will determine who's going to meet MYM in the finals. So
yeah. Could be a rematch, could be something.
Well, this is
fresh.
Planetkey. We can see them now. Look at those faces. They don't seem like the faces of confidence. They're more.
That's focus. That's
focus, not concern, perhaps. I mean, if I was sat on a stage environment, these guys haven't been there before. I'll say it again. They really are new to this. First time they're in this cup. Whereas we see a team like MYM and Epsilon who have been there since Season 1.
A couple of the players have been to this point.
Right, but not as a team.
But maybe not to this collective. And obviously, guys, welcome to Gamescom. It's still pretty early here. I see you guys filling out in the crowd. There's a good couple of you now out there. I see you guys. You're starting to get a little bit more lively. The day's getting on. And that's the thing. We're still only in the group stages. We're still very early in this tournament. We still have the quarters, semis, play. All of these really close games coming up. And that's what I'm looking forward to. So, Planetkey Dynamics need to stay focused. They need to stay calm. They need to know what they're in for and know how to play it. Map choice against Epsilon is always vital. There are some flat-out bans that should happen. Keep your eyes open for the likes of Railway to be taken away straight away. That should be a near-on instant ban out. Even Fnatic saying, why would you ever play them on a map like that? I was speaking to Value afterwards. I was like, why do you think ESC ever chose to play Epsilon on a map like that? And they're like, well, I don't know, they're idiots. I was like, yeah, that sounds about right. Unless you have a clear way to deal with it, do not take them on, because Asterix in that spot, their game style, it is stunning. So, as you can see your screen right there, the little cutie himself, Duke.
PT.
He was like, in chat, if you didn't see it already, he was like, guys, they keep showing me on camera. I guess it's because I'm so cute. Maybe it is. Not that you're closest to the end. Not at all.
And that's not why that's why they don't keep showing us, because obviously we aren't cute enough. And
no, we're not. We're not cute.
Far
compared
superior.
to Duke, we are not cute. He's a little cutie. Quite vocal within the scene as well, so it's good to see him in good spirits already.
So let's talk a bit Planetkey Dynamics. I've got some stats for you. Their route to get here in their cup. So the first cup they played 5th to 8th place against Pyrogen.
Pyrogen, solid French side.
Yeah, we aren't seeing them here though, so not sure what that says about them. 3rd, 4th, Infamous, a team who
another French side.
An infamous side, yeah. Very, very strong team. Maybe falling off towards the end of the season, and of course we've got 5th to 8th GC. We've seen
French
them play earlier, and of course ESC, who we saw play just prior to this. So
let's
not great results.
Well, it's not bad results. It's more the fact that they consistently fail against aggressive teams is how to read into this, or fast-paced teams. So the likes of Infamous, Pyrogen, all known for their fast-paced gameplay. All depending on that aggressive style, and it works. It works very well against Planetkey Dynamics, who are a very standardized team.
Yeah, standard team. However, Epsilon, they're not one of those aggressive teams. You say they can, they can bring aggression if they need to. They can be these kind of very elastic team who can sit in when they need to, push when they need to. However, from what I've seen so far, they're not an Infamous. They're not a Pyrogen.
No.
They're not there. They're not the in your face. Admittedly, there seems to be a correlation between aggressive teams and French teams, but either way, we aren't going to be seeing that from them, and that might mean a bit better news for PKD, team who probably can deal with that, probably deal with Epsilon being passive. If PKD can get an early 2 sites, we could all be good, and a little wink back to you, mate. And we see the crowd filling out here for a bit of a competitive battlefield. This is going to be the last group game, I believe. Got maybe one more after this before we move on.
Nothing to this caliber.
But exactly, this is going to be a good game. Talking maps, though, competitive-wise, I'm looking at PKD to be looking towards a Zavod, a Locker, maybe even a Dawnbreaker, despite I'm enjoying not seeing that map so far. Have you, in your cast, have you seen it?
Your options so far that you listed out. So Zavod, for example,
yeah.
Generally, if the way... Okay, so Epsilon, for example, they are super well-rounded on Zavod. They only lose to really aggressive teams.
Right.
And Planetkey Dynamics are not that sort of style. So, yes, Planetkey Dynamics are good on that map, but against Epsilon, that may struggle. So I think Zavod is probably a no for me. I'd say Railway, also a no. I'd say make sure those two are out of there. Outside of that, PKD just need to find their own route.
Okay. So they're going to be looking for... I don't know if they need to change their play style. I think it's more of a case of just PKD hoping and praying Epsilon don't bring their A game. Players like Horek, if Horek is into it, really on point, they're going to struggle against a single individual, never mind the team. Epsilon, I would be putting my money on them. However, I know that their mindset's not going to be completely crystal clear right now after this kind of horrible fiasco whereby one of their players disconnected yesterday, and there was a big, referees were involved. They had to decide, do we play on? Do we restart the half? And of course, the team who they were playing against were like, well, no, we won fair and square. In the rules, it states that. In the end, they kind of reluctantly said, yep, that's fine. You guys will play the whole half again. And slap bang, Epsilon had an even worse ticket deficit. That must have done something to their mindset, and I don't think it was positive.
See, and the thing with Epsilon is they are such a team that consistently has issues that they do go on tilt. They have problems with that. They find it very hard to motivate themselves into this clear and concise team that they should be. And at their level, they should be in this focused sort of aspect. But we will be seeing map picks come out very soon. Stop looking at Too Easy on Twitter. He's a handsome man, but stop it.
Yep.
I'm not sure what maps we're going to see coming out. So, excuse me, we will just wait for them to consider our options. I don't know, PKD, they need to play smart here with their choices. They need to know what they need to take out, what they need to focus on, and how they're going to do so. As we know that Epsilon can be such a decisive team on the right maps, and it could be over in 2. The thing is that there's so much individual talent as well with the Planetkey Dynamics side. Look out for the likes of Scene, Outsider. Those two alone can occasionally cause some real trouble.
They can, and we'll see if they will. Now we're going to jump straight into the map voting. You can see there 2 players, 2 representatives.
If they don't straight away ban out Railway, they are silly. I'm looking at you, Planetkey Dynamics. Why are you taking out Storm first? It should have been Railway. Damn.
Yeah,
okay,
not surprised there. So, let's see, obviously looking to play 3 maps in this best of 3.
Railway out. There we go.
Yeah.
That makes sense. I'd say Zavod should...
I think we're going to lose Shanghai, so we're going to have our 3, and it's not actually... That's interesting for me, because those are the 3 maps I see as the close quarters, the kind of bloodbath maps, which I'm not sure which team's going to prefer. Zavod up as first, Dawnbreaker second, and Operation Locker third, yeah.
See now, okay, Zavod, there is a vulnerability with Epsilon. They've shown that if a team knows their style, and they know how to counter that, it can be done. We saw that with ESC. They played it perfectly. They went for the early mid aggression, and it worked. So the likes of Benny would be aggressive through the mid between, it would be the C and A sites. Going for that mid aggression, going for that exchange will gift them a good early start, and they can build from that. But if Planetkey Dynamics don't do it, I feel they could struggle here.
Yep, we've seen Planetkey dynamics on this map before, and it was actually really interesting. They had something a bit different. It really impressed Jason Kaplan, who was with me.
Doesn't take much to impress him.
No, I mean, regardless of that, he was pointing out just how PKD, they weren't necessarily relying on an individual, Horek, who we're going to be seeing in this one. They were relying more on just team decisions, saying, as soon as they see a site that they don't think they can retake quickly, they move straight on to the opposing side, which they can only assume has lower numbers. So it's very, very fluid. Complete contrast to ESC, who are just a team of we've lost a site, throw numbers at it, throwing 3 or 4 players every single time. And so instead, a bit more of a wiser playstyle from Planetkey Dynamics. However, it does have the potential to be caught out. If you do start sending, a 3 or 4 man push to a site and you make the wrong choice, you're going to end up with that threat of a triple cap against you.
Well, I need you to make sure they are going to be telling us when they go live.
Yeah, I'm interested to see the end. Are we going to be seeing much of the engineer classes? This is one of those maps where you do have the potential to.
It can happen.
Obviously, one of the benefits of that is that you can bring the CZ along to play, and that's a weapon we're seeing more and more of throughout this tournament. Obviously, these are the kind of cream of the competitive battlefield crop, and right now, seeing a lot of the CZ3A1 in action, it suggests we're probably going to, if anything, we're going to be seeing more of it.
Sure, I was like to say, that doesn't look like the Timo I'm used to. It looks a little more yellow, and then suddenly Timo arrives.
There you go.
There we go. Timo is reporting for duty. Not yet to go live into this game. A couple of PC issues. Of course there's PC issues. It was funny, the Battlefield guys were walking around a little earlier before we went live, and they were like, oh, who's up first? And we're like, oh, this team against this team. It's not Epsilon, that's good. That's good. I don't know how they manage that, but it is always them that kind of have these problems getting into the games. It's amazing.
It's all right. It's all a mindset. It's all about the mind games,
Is that it?
Yeah, PKD, they were sat there ready to play. He's got his scarf on,
Ocelot,
at the end of the screen, yeah. And he's ready to play, and then they just let's mess with him. Let's make them wait. Because I know that would make me a little bit frustrated.
I'm always impressed that Ocelot can change game to game so well.
Game to game. Well, he sat down on the stage here.
Well, he's got that lovely scarf on.
Yeah, he does look great.
Looks fantastic. We are only joking. We are still waiting on the final members to join us here from these two teams. And we'll have to wait and see how long it takes them.
Well, I want to talk about stand-up players now.
What do you want to talk about, Alex?
Okay, so I'm going to throw a name at you and you're going to talk about it. Are you ready? Horek.
What do you want me to say?
I want you to tell me, right, so this is... I did a lot of notes when I was watching these guys play, and I was just basically saying how Epsilon, they are a team... I mean, was it Asterix for Epsilon, is he? He was doing the incredible picks with the support class. However, you looked more towards Horek in his close quarter area. I know he's the guy who can bring the CZ. Previously, the FAMAS, he was a big fan of that.
Yeah.
From him coming into this map with what's on the line, obviously playing for 30,000 euros or playing for the slice of 30,000 euros. He's going to be trying to do something, maybe have to surprise them. There's no surprises currently between teams like this because they know how each team plays. They know they've been sat here for 2 days now watching these teams play these same maps. So surprises aren't really going to be that common. Is Horek the player to surprise, or is he just going to play his usual game that they've seen time and time again?
I think he needs to play the usual game.
Okay.
He's quite a pivotal person within the Epsilon style, so if they just lose another player, can we just press tab? I'm going to kill these guys. I'm going to kill them. But no, they do play this very dependent style on the likes of Horek. Without him doing the job he does, they wouldn't be able to pick up that many sites. So he's the first one to give them the back cap, basically, which keeps their options open. Without him doing that, they're limited to very slow rotate. And if someone's dedicated to locking him down, then that's when the issues start arising. They're very dependent on so many factors into these games that if they're not in the right place, in the right position, then it could be a problem. So Horek's PC, just because you mentioned it, did just die as well. 86% of you, though, at home still voting for Epsilon. Clearly the favourites here. And PKD, you're going to have to prove you're wrong.
86%.
Big number.
Yeah, so favouring Epsilon. They are admittedly, the bigger name here in Battlefield and in a lot of games, but the fact that PKD are here and they've got this far is statement to the potential for a surprise here. And it would be a surprise. I'm sure you guys in the crowd will agree that, I mean, we've seen PKD walking around. They have there's an air of confidence around them. I think they're just happy to be here.
Can we just note that Duke got himself tangled in the wires for his headset and keyboard then. It was very adorable to watch. Will we please go back to looking at Duke trying to struggle out of his peripherals?
He was doing his best.
He was just covered in wires, bless him.
Got the soundproof headsets on, obviously, so they can't hear us talk.
Oh, just not as much.
They're not big fans of hearing us constantly tell the enemy where they are. So
yeah,
an understandable decision from them. I think we're going to be seeing that's David there. He's like, stop watching, you're going to see me turn on my cheats. Scrolling through.
I'm not sure if it's a good idea to show things that possibly could include the server details. That's not a great idea, cameramen. Let's not do that shot. Let's move away from that one. There we go. Let's look at some Red Bull sponsorship. That's much better. All right, so we are still waiting on the final player. No, final 2 players from Epsilon to rejoin us. If we can get an update as to why it is taking this time, that'd be fantastic. I know it's Epsilon. That's something we're used to by now, but it would be good to find out what the actual problems are. Because let's bear in mind, PKD are getting a little colder now. The more they sit down, the more they wind down, and the longer it takes to get back into this. So do hope that it doesn't take too long and these guys can stay warmed up and ready to go.
Yeah, and it's a problem. I always had this problem when I was playing, the fact that when you're into a game and you have a timeout, pauses, anything that kind of disrupts you, it can really, really throw you off. I've struggled with it before, whereby you'll be ready, you'll start the game, you'll maybe even get the first few rounds. Obviously, it's not as bad for these guys, but the simple fact that they were ready to play, 5 of them in the server, and now Epsilon down to losing yet another player. Just I think it's to PC issues. To be fair, it's not actually Epsilon's fault.
What?
But
Epsilon, I think they're breaking PC.
I think they're kicking towers. That's what they are. Yeah,
that's it. It's not cool. It's not okay. It's taking ages. So let's hope they do start this up soon enough. Frustration hopefully doesn't get to them.
Yeah. So. What's the second map we're going to be seeing? I know we're playing Zavod into...
Dawnbreaker.
Dawnbreaker. Okay, so it is Dawn for second. Okay.
Yeah.
Obviously, yeah, credit to our sponsors, AMD, EA, and DICE. Here at ESL One. Looking towards the future now, Lauren, since we've been looking at the present for far too long.
Okay.
The winner of this goes in to play Fnatic, I believe. And so that's something they're going to have to bear in mind. And we know the kind of record, of course, that both Epsilon and Meet Your Makers have against Fnatic.
Do you know what? The one thing I want to say, we are ready to go live on restart. That's all I care about. They are now ready. The teams are in. The main bet is how long until Epsilon have a PC problem.
Good question.
It's a matter of time. I think PKD know that. Like, it's Epsilon. They'll be in the game for like another 10 minutes and we'll get this. Don't worry. But no, we are about ready to get underway here. PKD up against Epsilon. Planetkey Dynamics will be on the US side. The Russian side will be Epsilon. And we'll be live after the next 30 seconds coming into this. I expect to see the engineer class in play. Where it gets utilized, we'll have to wait and see.
Okay, so obviously the early engineer classes, the reasons for that is just to open up line of sight. There's a lot of buildings there which can come down, and I think usually the side spawning on the American side, this time PKD are going to want to open up that C site to make it less of a fortress. Despite them going to take it early, they want to catch all the players crossing towards that B site early. We'll see where this goes as we now jump straight into game and see where on earth these players are going. Let's see. So, right, so looking at the split, Nosey's going to be heading over towards the A site. See 3 players heading towards that mid area from Epsilon. We've seen them do it before. They just stack up on that mid area as David putting some rockets out.
Yeah, David basically opens up the play out towards the site. It allows them to kind of build from C towards B. Bad camera work, Lauren. And then just get comfortable. And that's pretty much it. It makes it a lot easier as a team to do. But PKD are still locking this one out, even with all those routes kind of carved away at. Epsilon didn't have the best of starts. They did not get the penetration through mid that they wanted. They look like they're going to go for it again.
Okay, so great start actually for PKD. They managed to get onto that B site, something that we were kind of expecting to see Epsilon go for. Instead, they headed for that mid area. And it has cost them, especially now seeing that Scene and Azir with some strong defensive work. In the meantime, though, David with 1. I thought that was going to be a second. It wasn't. Heavily tagging up the enemy there. Tickets, though, only losing 1 so far for PKD. They're going to try and hold this lead for as long as possible. They know C, though, is under some heavy scrutiny. Spawns coming in, though. Jansen falls as well. That was just adding to the ticket count there as he spawned straight in to yet another death. So not bad start then in response. Haven't managed to give up C yet, though. I'm not exactly sure how Epsilon are going to feel about that one, because they have put a lot of resources on towards this C site. They're throwing numbers at it right now. David's finally going to pick up one. Actually, I believe that was two. Asterix and Horek doing the same as well. Now it's just a consideration of, now they've secured C, what could they're worrying about A, and that may not actually be the threat here, as PKD are going to be coming in for yet another assault on that C flag.
Yeah, and this was a real heavy brawl for Epsilon very early on. It's cost them about 20 tickets just to keep those respawns going, the tickets on the sites, and Asterix being caught there as well. So a lot of resources put towards this. They won't be keeping that 2-1. They need to even out the tickets now. They need to get another around 20 to 10 away from Planetkey Dynamics, who are making that counter move back in towards the site. Marzu now needs to retract back in from that split push out to maybe try and test the A site and make sure he's keeping hold of it. He's going to find Janssen, but that's really about it right now, as we are seeing so many kills coming in, especially for the PKD side. Currently leading the way on that, 17 kills for them with a mere 15 of Epsilon. Not much, but in these situations it makes a big bit of difference.
Yeah, look at the, and talking of difference, the fact that the Epsilon side are just swapping between having two sites AC, whipping to an AB, and I wouldn't be upset with that one, especially now, though, you do see a bit of a potential altercation on that A site. You're absolutely spot on there. Outsider has managed to neutralize that not frag, it's a flag. And Marcy's going to be coming in. This is a bit of a pincer movement. This could get messy for him, as he's going to be coming around the corner. Great positioning from him, but oh dear, the aim was not in line with his positioning. And actually, Marcy's taking him down with the Ace-23. And that's going to mean that the A site remains under PKD control.
Yeah, and I like this position from Enosi. He's in the right spot to get the respawns in, hence he's 3-4 players now, and they can build up possibly to another hit towards C. Sadly, it's not going too well for them. The execution slightly lacking, and still waiting to get into this. They are being picked up on their push through by Duke, and they're not quite getting in towards the site. So that initial lead that we saw in the hands of PKD has nearly been negated by Epsilon. They've built themselves back into this game, slowly but surely. And Enosi looking for that ruin. Not going to find it too comfortably, and now I think PKD might need to start weighing out their options, maybe to test out the B site.
Interesting. I don't know why they keep throwing themselves at this C site. Hysteria goes down, prime example of that. It's actually, Outside has done some work, but obviously he's not going to be able to catch that flag with that presence beneath them on that C flag. There's a lot of Epsilon players around. They're going to keep coming in. As long as they have one player around, those spawns are going to keep coming in. You see Enosi going to mosey on towards B. And there's a player just around the tank corner. I'm not sure he's going to get him. He does actually. Asterix playing the great defensive role. Asterix, one of those more stationary players for Epsilon, but he really does. Look at that, picking up a second as well. Duke's there to back him up. He's going to pick up a third. Asterix just making the site his own as the tree comes crumbling down. And it has to be said, Planetkey Dynamics losing, I think it was about a 20-ticket advantage now, and we see Epsilon clawing it back to, well, about a 10-ticket lead.
Yeah, definitely. And Asterix, what a big play from him. Currently sitting on 7-4. Not the top, but certainly a fantastic KDA. He's going to be soloing out on the site until they need help, maybe by C. And they might need just that, because PKD are putting some serious numbers here. CZ3A1's a rife. Finally going to play. Does take down Mars, who's sitting in that little bit of a head glitch position. And you can see the kind of strangling maneuver coming in from Epsilon, putting players around every corner, making sure they're pushing in together to try and play retake, however. I'm not sure if it's going to pay off so easily.
Yeah, maybe not, actually, as C-site changing hands once again, this time back into Epsilon control. And they know full well what's going to happen if they come towards this site. Duke's there, as is Asterix, and we saw what he did last time. Can it there be a repeat? Top of the scoreboard for his team, and with 9 frags, he's looking to make it 10. Doesn't this time. Finally seen, manages to pick that one up, but in the meantime, David and Duke, the double D combo, managed to rotate to save that site. B site didn't last too long though, managed to change hands. Nice play from PKD. I'd be happy with an AB hold. They're going to be pretty satisfied with that one, just because of how much they've thrown towards C to no avail. I think they're going to just accept AC and see how long they can keep hold of this one. Well, they need to, with 20 tickets now away.
They do indeed. David is going for the cheeky little back cap on towards A. It's been quite the battle with Horek occasionally splitting over there as well. He's not quite made it just yet. Surrounded by the opposition, going to get taken down, leaving David up against the odds. He's going to be removed from the picture, and 82-59. The scene's getting a little bit worse every second that goes by. Planetkey Dynamics lacking a little bit more of that execution, and look at this Duke. If he gets out of here in the right time, he'll get a clear B pickup, and in the right place to hold it, and they'll get the better setup here, C to B. They do need to reinforce mid a little, because that's where Planetkey Dynamics are focusing, But at this rate, I think Epsilon are in the better spot.
Yeah, I think they were in the better spot come the opening play. Despite PKD starting quite strong, I think Epsilon were cool, calm, collected, and they just have the experience on their side right now. Obviously, the C site sees 3 PKD corpses created primarily by Marcy. Very nice play from him. And now 76 tickets to 46. That 20 ticket deficit is remaining pretty constant now for PKD. I thought they were going to change it, and looking to change it even more. It's actually Horak, and he's trying to change it for the worst. Picks up A in exchange for B, and then now we see he's going to be holding strong on this site, waiting and perfectly timing, catching yet another player out. And now again, almost a full squad wipe. 4 players down for PKD, and they're not winning these 1v1s, Lauren.
They're really not, and it's going to cost them possibly a triple cap here. Duke winning out in that 1v1 will open up. And Nosy going down, didn't play defensive enough. Maybe didn't realize they lost out on A so drastically. So over-focusing the attention towards going for the peak rather than the hold. However, Epsilon may have overextended. They may have left C a little vulnerable. And obviously we know that C to B is not a big leap. And that could be PKD's way back into a good couple of tickets. But David moving in, looking to contest that.
Very nice play from David, and he's going to be securing that flag with ease. 73 to 20. Was rocking the muzzle brake on there. So with a BC, and again Jansen falling, constantly trying to get into the C site, and Epsilon just with a big fat stop sign outside C to say that was not going to happen. I wasn't going to go down without a fight now. Looking towards Asterix though, look at his positioning. He's over at his favorite site. This time he's not going to succeed. David is though. And they're going to start questioning the integrity of B, and it looks like he's going to try and extend. It does. Takes down Hysteria, pays a heavy blood price, though, as he's going to throw a nade out towards the opposing side of that site. Still with A under control as well. PKD need to hold on to B.
They definitely do. Scene is there, trying to get into the action. And I think they might have just cleaned out. I think they've gained control. I think they should be happy with this. But still, where is Epsilon going to close this one out? They could pick A, they could pick B. It's an even split either side. Marzu playing on C side. They're going to reinforce C and then build out. Wouldn't be surprised if we see maybe David or Horek. Oh, look at this bait play. Horek going to go show himself, maybe give away the game a little to keep the attention away from David, who's the one moving in for the site. So, a bit of a bad exchange though. Outsider will pick up C. So a 2-1 now in favor to PKD. They can start changing around. Yeah,
PKD cannot afford to concede a 2 cap hold against them. I mean, if Epsilon get 2 sites for, give it 10, 20 seconds, that's game. So right now, it's all down to not dying, but then there's this horrible balance between sitting in, not dying and giving up tickets that way through spawns, but still holding on to these 2 sites, sorry. And looking to do that is Horik at the moment for Epsilon. Duke is there as well. They're all spawning in. This is it. If they secure this site, this could very well be that first a very strong ticket start for Epsilon. Obviously, as this gap closes, see that 29 going down 28. It's going to keep ticking away, and the smaller that gets, the better this is for PKD in the second half.
Oh, certainly. They needed to close this one up even further, and they are getting the kills to match it, but there's obviously Epsilon with a couple more tickets to play with here. David on a mission towards B, going 1v2. He's going to now have the overmatch with Duke with him. Going to put and invest that ticket in to get Duke back up. And they might even close out with a triple cap if they win these 1v1s on the several sites. Focusing to the vast majority on towards A, they're going to get a 2-1, and they're going to hope that that will give them enough with those 4 tickets left on PKD to get this game closed out. But no, PKD are holding on. They're not done just yet.
Yeah, look at them go. With only 4 tickets, they had 10 when the Russian side, Epsilon, was on 30. So managing to keep this up, and if they can get it down to even a 10, maybe make it even lower into single digits, this has been fantastic. These teams are so evenly matched right now, almost surprisingly so. Epsilon looking a little weak at the knees, and PKD, the German powerhouse, are managing to fight off every single ticket. Obviously now with only 1 ticket left, the next spawn, the next cap, it falls, and we do see only 10 tickets. Take note of that, don't forget that one, because as soon as that threshold is reached, we see Epsilon win. But that is nothing, Lauren. I mean, take that into the second half. It could be everything considering how close these teams are. Yeah. But I mean, we saw PKD, if they can start as strongly as they did and actually maintain it this time, that they should not be fazed by that.
See, but I feel Epsilon always let their foot off the gas then. They were so strong, and then with about like 10 tickets left, they maybe relaxed a little, and then PKD took away 20 to 30 tickets from them. That's massive. Yeah. That's something you got to be worried about, because that's showing a little bit of lax, a little bit of lack of focus sometimes coming through there. And Epsilon they need to make sure they're closing these games out. They don't want to give room for any sort of movement here to allow PKD to build in. We'll hope to see how well they do now, as we will be going back into the second half in just a couple of moments' time. Outsider having a great game, seen as well the two that I mentioned at the start, stepping up quite nicely. And I think the teams will be ready nice and quickly to get underway just as fast as they did before.
Yep, so jumping into the second half here, this is obviously PKD, Planetkey Dynamics, up against Epsilon, and I have to highlight just how impressive I am, impressed I am.
How impressive you are.
I am impressive, there's no doubt about that, but I mean, right now, let's talk about how impressive PKD have been in taking Zavod. A map, as we saw them look a little weak at in the previous game. So PKD, they struggled to pick this one up. Did eventually, again, but it was a hard-fought battle, and I'd be interested to see if Epsilon do something different. You said they maybe took their foot off the gas. Maybe they're going to be wanting to secure this a bit more convincingly as we go into that second half. I think we're going to be going straight back into the game, guys. So you get onto the edge of your seats, because we are getting close and closer to finding out where the money's going. I haven't seen Fnatic in a while. I think we're going to be seeing them up next. That's exciting. A team I'm sure a lot of you are keen to see back on the battlefield stage. Still, moving back into this game, let's jump into it and see what Epsilon and PKD can do in the second half.
Yeah, we are live. Epsilon will be on the US side. The Russian side will be Planetkey Dynamics. Currently, the advantage is sitting with Epsilon by a very small margin. 10 tickets is nothing if these two teams get to the start they want to. But let's see how this one is going down overall. Big mistakes being made in the fact they've, one, allowed Horek the chance to get towards A, two, to the fact that they're even still hedging their bets. Duke went a little too aggressive. He needs to either fall back and reinforce with Marzu or make that commitment, and he's kind of in between. This is that messy start that we worry about. But let's see how the kind of dust settles.
Yeah, see where that takes us, and I'm really impressed by this Epsilon start. They almost had like a kind of threat of a trip cap, and I think sending that player, or well, make it two players, I believe it was Marzu as well, over to that C site was just enough for PKD to throw a few too many resources over there, and that meant that they could get A and B pretty easily. And again, C looks like it's going to be in trouble again. Jansen's the only player from PKD to defend. Does pick up one though. He knows there's going to be another one around there with the ACW. Oh, dearie me. Horek, player you really cannot question his aim and brain. The man is always just playing the waiting game, and his timing seems to be very, very on point today here in Cologne.
Yeah, and Hysteria held on to be the entire time through that over his team, just about walking away with A, as we've seen pretty much a clean sweep coming through from Epsilon. They're taking down the vast majority of Planetkey Dynamics, 137 to 125 at the moment. Epsilon in the lead with the additional 10 tickets as well on top of this, coming away from that first half. So Epsilon looking like they mean business. They need to slow down a little bit, lock out these sites for their longevity rather than the bit of a flash in the pan, but it looks like they'll be able to do so. They have the better setup now. Let's see if they can maintain as long as they should.
Okay, I'm intrigued to see where this goes. Not entirely sure what PKD have got up their sleeve here. The longer they accept this BC hold from Epsilon, the longer and harder that deficit's going to be, especially including that extra 10 tickets. So Epsilon trying to create a big gap early, and right now Jansen has something to prove. He knows there's going to be a player around there. He actually goes down. Nice play from Horek, just clearing out that ace side, going to be securing that for his team, and that's exactly what Epsilon wanted. That's the trip cap. It was very short-lived though, as straight away we see PKD, Hysteria and Outsider in response. Marcy though, dancing and darting around, looking to find the man who's just captured the flag, and he doesn't succeed, does go down. Actually the revive onto Hysteria as well, just increasing numbers on that C flag. But straight up, great play from Horek, bringing the A site home, and so it's just a quite simple trade-off, C for A.
Yeah, it looks like PKD want to convert towards B now. There's two players against two. They may get the drop on towards one. Outsider does find his opposite number, but Asterix actually backed away from the site, probably play for retake. And here we go. We're going to see his other teammate moving in from the other flank. Two teams now going to go head-to-head on B. A also being captured over by Planetkey Dynamics. Team on the Russian side, on the left side of your screens right here, as Asterix finally will be found. The B Master does fall. And all in all, big commitment coming out from Epsilon towards B.
Yeah, PKD, almost a full squad wipe there. Just waiting on Outsider and Hysteria to respawn in, and I'm just worried about how much PKD are trying to get on towards B. They're starting to change their minds though. Those spawns on towards the A side are going to mean more of a mid-focused play. Duke in the meantime over at B, but Hello, Hysteria.
Yeah, he's trying to go for a sneaky back cap, but look at the ticket so far. Epsilon, 127 to 73 or 62 now, if you take into that 10 ticket difference on the half. And PKD just really struggling on this, and every single time, I can imagine that's Horek who you're about to go to. Let's just check, because we're seeing the A flag being tickled there, and of course it's Horek, of course it is. So as soon as they see, okay, C is under threat, they put straight away Horek out towards A to get the back cap on. So they'll always maintain a 2-to-1, and then they'll rebuild towards the sites they want, knowing the exchange rate.
So we can look at the overview for a second to see, where does Horek go after he's done this? After he's done his sneaky back cap, so does he just roam, return to a site, and only start? So he doesn't hang around once he's done the cap. He simply puts the presence on A, enough to make PKD lose it, and then straight up to back to his roaming. And I mean, look at him, working again with the CZ, taking down Scene, and this time he's just picking up B now. C, sorry.
Yeah, he literally has now won them 2 sites back to back. A and then C is now going to go back towards A. And in the meantime, basically, he's always given Epsilon that edge. It may not be always in kills. He is 9-to-1. That's pretty damn impressive.
Yeah.
But it's mostly because of his smart, intuitive play. So as soon as he sees, okay, they've resecured A, I'll take my time, go on the long route, and then I'm going to get back on it, because they'll probably be on the rotate towards C. So he gets himself set up. There they are, going towards C, and they'll maintain B because they already have Asterix and Marzu waiting. So regardless of where PKD are, unless they get the overmatch and they get the correct players towards the correct sites, people like Horek are going to consistently do this. And well, 20 tickets left. This is going to be a very one-sided affair here.
Indeed, spot on there. I'm not really impressed by what PKD have brought to us in the second half, bringing it so close. 10 tickets. We cast our minds back to that first half, but completely, I'd say it's more of just a new Epsilon. You said that they may have taken their foot off the gas after the start, and I think that may be a perfect summary of just how Epsilon have approached this. The second half is they're putting their foot flat on the gas. As we see only 18 tickets left for PKD, and they have no answer for this one.
Absolutely none. From the very start, this has been Epsilon being done. I said they let their foot off the gas, and I think that's been proven true here, because they decided to prove a point. They decided to say, well, we're going to keep above 120 tickets here, and you guys have now got 1 left. And I've got to say it, Epsilon, this is what I expected. This is the Epsilon that's dangerous, the team that can challenge your Fanatics, your top tier teams. And there we go, below the threshold. Epsilon claim the first map with a good, solid performance. They should be happy and proud of that. And now they need to focus on the next map coming up.
Yes, they do. And I mean, with 120 tickets, Epsilon have made a statement about what they're here to do. They're not here to fall to their rivals, Fnatic and MYM. We saw them actually, obviously, succeed over MYM from the first game.
Yeah.
But, oof, I don't know. I don't know. Epsilon looked really strong there, and I think they're contenders for that first place slot.
Definitely up there with it. We'll have to see what they can do towards that next map. And I think the next map's actually Dawnbreaker. Did PKD play that actually last time?
PKD?
If you can, yeah.
Yes, they did. You know, if I cast my map, they started as strongly as they did in that one. But I mean, that was PKD just crumbling under the pressure. They could not handle this Horek rotate, who was constantly running between using the underground passage from C up into mid, constantly going down and back up, rotating to away as soon as he knew that there was no one around, and he's made it work so well, and constantly as well. People know what he's going to do.
Well, let's see how this one all unfolds. As big players like Horek, obviously, the thing is that people underestimate Horek because he's very Reaper, get off the microphone.
That's their manager.
Yeah, he's like, guys, they want to get some pictures with you later. Can you please make sure you wear your Epsilon shirts? But yeah, all in all, it's more. In fact, are we actually going to go live on Restart? Can you check chat, please?
We are.
Alrighty, so I think we are going to be going live on Restart here. There we go, we are indeed. So we are into the game, second map being Dawnbreaker. PKD will be starting on the Chinese side. The US side will be Epsilon. Currently Epsilon leaving 1 map to the good. And right away we're seeing quite a unique start actually coming out from Planetkey Dynamics.
Yeah, I'm interested to see where they take this. They're constantly approaching this A site early. It's something we've seen a lot this tournament. Just taking A, accepting that they're going to forgo B, but instead that sneaky scene, going the long way around, taking that long road and securing an A-C split. And this can be a pressure on towards Epsilon, but not if they lose their 2 defensive players down. Hysteria falls, and that's going to be A taking under Epsilon control, unless, of course, Outsider and Inozi can quickly rotate around. I don't think they're going to be doing that. I see you highlighting the lack of an Epsilon player, and I hope we don't have a repeat of last time.
Yeah, make sure we keep our eyes on chat here. At the moment, Epsilon probably aren't too worried. They do have only 4 players, but to be fair to them, they're holding A and B, and this is their ideal setup. This is their map where they're very tactical on and they're smart on. There will be an overmatch at some point, but if it goes towards someone like Marzu, always being distracted, Marzu, come on. Think smart here. Think about what's going to be happening. What's the smart place to push? And it is against Marzu. He needs to be careful now. He's going to be pressured. Dead Nade comes out. Going to try. Oh, doesn't even knock over the fence. I'm worried he goes down. And this is where the breakthrough happens. They have the extra player to overmatch on these specific sites and these specific places. And it's going to force Epsilon back. However, no one from PKD is playing this back defensive C role. I think Scene's going to come back and try and deny that back spawn. If he does so, that basically means that, well, Epsilon are going to be forced to be just by A. Exactly what he's doing. Scene is going to try and deny this back spawn, force it back here if anything happens, and leave Epsilon, as they're 5 now, they are all back together, to have to work back down from A. That was a smart, well-read move from Planetkey Dynamics, but a horrible point. That is a really scumbag play from them. Like, you've got 4 players, we're going to screw you even harder now.
Yeah, I mean, you say that, but Epsilon managed to maintain a ticket advantage after being a player down for around that minute and a half. I mean, that's rubbing salt into the wound at the moment for PKD. Right now, though, as soon as Epsilon return to 5 players, they return that B site as well, or I thought they were going to. Actually, Jansen is trying to bring it home for his team, actually, as he's currently hasn't picked up a kill yet. The man is yet to, as I say, that does take down David, and you can see Duke roaming around that site. He knows, of course, he's well aware his teammates have told him there's a player around. The spot tells the story a lot better, though, as he goes down to Jansen, who hasn't really done anything but defend B. The guy, every time he spawns, heads straight to that site, and he's working wonders for him at the moment, as now we do see that top site change hands. And
the rocket launcher kill for Horek then, denying Inozi picking up the site. He'll keep it in the hands of Epsilon, allowing Horek time to come back. Fine Scene. Oh, the flat out exchange, another good bit of work, keeping that one in favor. And the back spawn came in from Marzu, so they're holding the AC setup. They're going to force at least one player to come back towards C and then try and get the overmatch towards a B site.
Okay, where are they going to take this one? Inozi securing that C site. Marzu constantly going to be... I thought he was going to go down. Manages to return Hysteria back to the grave. Only 9 tickets in it, though. Of course, these teams were so closely matched in that first half. You can't really take this as an indicator of where the whole map's going to go, because, I mean, 10 tickets. That was all it was. The threshold set in the first half of Zavod. And to see 120 tickets to Epsilon and 0 to Planetkey in that second half. I mean, it's just, it was a whole new Epsilon. Whether or not this is the whole new Epsilon right now, and so maybe PKD waking up a little bit for this one. We see BC hold, very happy with that one, PKD. That's one of the more ideal holds, purely because you can see that threat. Actually, outsider is dead, but the player always, you know, in that north part of the map. This time, not going to be there just yet. Duke, is he going to head towards C? He's just going to hang out in this mid-area, try and get picked towards B. I tell a lie, he's heading straight towards that C flag, and he's going to put 30 bullets into the wall around the player. Finally managed to take up the kill. But still, slow and steady wins the race right now for Epsilon.
They're struggling to make an impact on this B side. I'm trying to find out why. They're playing their normal roles, and no one's on catwalk yet. So I don't know why they're struggling so much to pick up this B side. They're maybe going to try and just cheekily pick up C just to get themselves back in the game, because they've been losing out quite substantially on tickets now. But all in all, they are struggling to make a bit of an impact. Yeah,
interesting to see how Duke has tried 3 times now to get onto that C flag, and every single time he gets thwarted by outsider. Really nice defense. Surprising to see, as I know how good Duke can be in those 1v1s, in those side pushes, when Horek's not taking the job. But right now, PKD are happy to forego that B site temporarily in order to secure A, and so we're going to see another trade-off now as Marcy's going to return A to their control, and I thought Jansen was going to do the same to B, but no. And now David, this is a very vital trade. He needs to win it, and he's not going to do so as the nades come flying in from either side. The health pack comes down. We need to see who comes out on top of this one to determine the control of the B site, and look at this, 1-for-1. Hysteria comes out on top, Asterix as well, and actually Epsilon coming up huge to bring that B site home.
Yeah, there was the slow build, and then they picked it up. They forced PKD right back towards C. If they can get well set up, they have to put Asterix out here. This is a position he must play, because we know PKD like to use it themselves. So even if he's just there watching the push rather than doing anything other than that, we'll have Marzu back here, actually. A bit of a new adjustment for him. He's going to be holding the highway side. Everyone else building up towards the B site. 2 kills come in for Epsilon, and they're locking this one down. This is where you get these extended holds coming through. Asterix might be pressured in a second from the likes of Outsider. But right now, a bit of an extended play from Epsilon. They're so good at building time like this. And the longer you see this happen, the longer they lock down these sites and keep them even further back from this line, the longer the tickets just start trickling in their favor. 80 to 72 already.
It's so tough. It really is. It's tough for PKD because they have these great holds. They'll secure 2 sites and quite well rotate. But whatever they do, you know, I mean, Epsilon, it looked like they had no way into B site. And all of a sudden, the tickets are now well and truly in Epsilon's favor. PKD are probably wondering how this has happened. And the reason behind it is just not necessarily Horek this time, but the constant pressure down that street. There's always 1 or 2 players heading down that C flag. Sometimes Outsiders encountering them in these kind of tight spaces. You see Marcy's actually in it right now. See where that takes him as a nade comes flying in. Duke obviously lying on the floor. Marcy doesn't want to risk it for the revive, and the tickets starting to tick away for PKD. They need to make something happen, and they are on that B side as well here as Nosy is rocking in A, trying to slaughter some greenery. Does that. And,
triple cap.
it's going to be possibly a triple cap. Well, I don't know. I think that Horek and Marsu, they are just a little too strong of a pressure on that A site. Still, they're very close, and we do see actually finally Asterix, the turret, going down in that very prime position on that B side, which is going to mean extra security now as Outsider takes his place for Planetkey Dynamics.
So 65 to 49, BC being held. It's the contrasting styles here. The unorthodox play coming out from PKD is difficult to deal with, but when you get in players like David sneaking through, it makes it a little bit easier. But now the back spawns on towards A, gonna start hurting. Asterix must check on this, as he knows A will now be challenged. He doesn't have much backup just yet. You can see, I think it's Horek actually falling back with him. B will be going to Epsilon's favor for just a second, if anything, but Epsilon, I'm not sure if they can play the unorthodox style. It just does not suit them.
Really doesn't, actually. I mean, this is not what we expect to see. And David's going to come up. He's got these many people have tried before. Does actually succeed in taking out Outsider with the nade, and that's a very key nade. Can't underestimate that one. In the meantime, though, PKD did have an AB hold, but very short-lived as Epsilon are just swarming over that side right now. And that's going to be a nice rotate now from Duke. Picking up a double, looking for a third as well. He's picking up some long-range play as well. It's interesting to see that Duke, though so very strong in these kind of CQB close environments, he can do just as well. He can kind of pull the Asterix roll out when needed.
Yeah, and I was surprised it took PKD so damn long to pick up that C site. It was up for grabs some time ago, but maybe just overly focused on what they thought was necessary. And, well, it's not gone too well for them. However, look, once again, David getting down towards C. He's been consistently doing this. May not be on the top of the scoreboard, you know, kill-wise, 10 to 9, but he's been constantly pressuring this, forcing these terrible back spawns for PKD, and they're just working their way back in as best they can.
Yeah, I mean, talking of scoreboard, Epsilon, they've got 19 frags on 1 player alone, Duke PT, or Duke as he is pretty much known. See him picking up another one. Dukept. I think that was how I originally called him. That was a mistake by my part. Still, here he is, Duke, the presence now taking David's place. He's going to catch off another player, or not actually. Bullets kind of tracing him as the enemy player. Oh, it was Outsider. He finally goes down, courtesy of Duke's ace, and now he's going to consider going towards the C-side. Very cautionary play from him, and he's going to do that long-range play we were talking about earlier. Not going to succeed this time, though, but with only 15 tickets left, PKD are not having the same game they had on the first half of Zavod.
No, definitely not. That's a worrying sight, and God forbid Asterix actually has to reload with this gun. Dear Lord, there we go, he has to reload again. But still, yes, only 6 tickets left with them, and the thing that I want to point out is the unorthodox style could have really worked there for Planetkey Dynamics if they'd focused a little more on that catwalk, played a little smarter throughout it, but 49 tickets is even a bigger advantage than they had on the first map.
49 tickets. It was 10 last time, and Epsilon were unfazed with just such a small threshold, managed to come in with a huge win in that second half, and I would not be surprised. Watching these guys play, watching Duke as a single entity play, it was incredible to see, and I think Epsilon, if they keep this momentum up, you can see a very happy manager stood behind them there.
I don't know about happy. Reaper's never really happy.
He's not happy until they're holding the cup.
Yep, look at him. He's like, come on, guys.
I mean, it could be okay.
More.
Yeah.
More wins, please.
Yeah, and bad performances, I've been highlighting the good ones as well. In Nosy, 4 frags in the entirety of that game, dying 17 times as well. I mean, that's probably 17 spawns, give or take revives. That's 17 tickets before they even started looking at points.
Yeah. if you do turn it around in that sort of aspect, in comparisons to what we saw coming out from Epsilon, what the highest death count was 10 tickets invested compared to the 17. That's a big difference. Not something you really want to be dealing with. So second half of Dawnbreaker here, I'm hoping we see something a little special coming out from Epsilon, but I don't think they need to. I think they're happy playing standard here, and they're beating their opposition in this standard play consistently.
Yeah, they're playing very well. I've been constantly impressed, actually more impressed by Epsilon today than I was yesterday. You said that they didn't bring their A game yesterday. I think they're bringing their B.5 game today. I think they're really getting close to the A that we're going to probably be hoping to see. It's a thing now. But yeah, they're getting closer and closer to that Epsilon we know and love. Right now, though, very strong play from them. Just looking to maybe position themselves for this boost. We saw actually people sorting themselves out with a boost. Obviously, we're going to be going in live. We'll jump in so you guys can see what I'm talking about. But what I'm trying to highlight is that they do this early boost and then don't bother pushing early to B, which was what originally it was kind of discovered for. However, look, this 5-man push as we pan up the street, we can see Epsilon deciding to yet again forego that early B to have the element of surprise and to have a better foothold and from this A site. Yeah,
if you go straight towards the B site from that spawn, you're basically clashing and hoping which confident teams can still depend on. But if you want to play smart and sensible, pick up A and work down the street. However, we're seeing PKD being gifted, excuse me, the unorthodox hold on this site. They're going to leave Scene around this position until they feel confident enough. And there's very little you can do against someone like that in that sort of spot. He's going to be constantly watching this road, constantly watching over here, and leaving these two in their favorable hands. And this is what gave PKD that close start at the beginning.
Yeah, and really, something that the risk of taking, Epsilon have taken, is that by doing this, by taking the risk and giving them B, if PKD can just set up a real barrier that they can't get through initially, that's going to be a quick ticket deficit that Epsilon have to forego. And I don't know whether that's really on the cards at the moment. Obviously, they do have that 49 tickets from the first half that they have to work with as well, and we're going to see those tickets falling away from them if they continue with only 3 tickets lost so far for PKD. They're not dying, and they're holding on to this BC hold. We'll see how long for, though, as we currently look at David and Jansen, who are going to have an exchange over on that B side.
Yeah, a couple of kills coming through outside. It does go down to David's hands, and Jansen trying to avenge, but not having too much luck, as it looks like Epsilon is starting to negate that B presence. And that's when it starts becoming a little more dangerous. The likes of Inozi, Jansen, and Co are struggling to make the impact they were having before.
Yes, indeed. So with AB now, they've swapped it out. We'll see Asterix trying to do something. He's actually got rid of the support class, so maybe his team were
serious times.
Yeah, it's not working. 49 tickets. Interesting to see with the AEK. David picking up a double with it. It's obviously perfect for the battle on B. And I'm just having a little look at the overview, trying to see exactly what Marsu can do for us, as well as he's going to be trying to respond to no avail.
Well, B being fought over as we speak. And the thing that basically Epsilon did was, well, at least previously, to get them back in on the site, they managed to negate that catwalk. Once you start finding these positions, such as down here, you're completely covered off. Obviously gaining control on this side gives you that side as well. So they need to build into this in a smart way. Otherwise, they're going to be locked out. It's going to be a close game. It took them some time. Obviously, I'm waiting to see David maybe make that play down towards that C site. But for now, they're just having to weather the storm.
Yeah, I'm looking at Asterix. He has actually picked up the class. I thought he was being forced back to the more standard play, but I think he's didn't enjoy that. Prefers the range, prefers the fire rate of that support class, and I mean it makes sense, especially if you're not planning on moving. You've got the ammo, so which is available as well, so you're able to completely camp. I mean, I don't want to bring that word into it, but that's exactly what Asterix does so well. So AB hold at the moment, and Nosy and Hysteria behind that one. Mars is going to be first on the scene, though. We'll see what he's got for us as he's going to come around firing. Manages to pick up a great frag, actually, onto a Nosy as he was trying to cower and pick up some better cover. His team are going to be falling in on that to benefit from it. And we'll see exactly what Mars is got in mind for the B site now as well. And look at this, just a flood of captures now. David, Horek, just to name a few of the players that now swarm towards that B site. David does go down to outsider, though. ACW in hand, and I mean, it's looking pretty rough for PKD. They had such a great early hold, managing to only just bring C back under their control after that threat of a triple cap. A and B, it's all good in the hood right now for Epsilon.
And as you were saying, the thing that they did eventually was build back into this game. It took time, but they'll be constantly pressured. It's not an easy one because PKD have to keep that in the hands to be able to pull off the tactic they like to utilize. In Nosy realizing what might be going down, trying to get himself back towards C just in case there's a player on the long rotate, which David is. So well read from him, but sadly does go down in the end. But the play being noticed, the plays slowly being kind of figured out here, and Hysteria coming back in to deal with whomever may decide to try and push down David, for example, who did try and split down towards that C side. So all in all, at the moment, PKD have got their game on point. They've realized the weakness that was there before, which was allowing David to be able to back cap on towards C. Now that's changed. It's getting back on.
Yeah, game on indeed. Obviously, 49 is the threshold. Keep an eye on that PKD or Planetkey Dynamics tickets, because as soon as they fall below that, we're going to see Epsilon with that 2-0. Or, of course, PKD taking it into a third map. They know just what they've got to do, and losing B was not on the plan at the moment, as Horek brings out a really fantastic couple of picks. He seems to be constantly moving. This man does not sit still. Almost a kind of contrast mirror to Astrix, who pretty much only sits still, but we can tell which is working for who, as Horek sat on 4 frags, Astrix on a measly 1.
Yeah, I'm not sure why they're still running with this class. I don't like it. It doesn't have a place on this map. It works on other maps, correct?
Nice on Dam, but
not here. Okay, you take. Well, all right, I'll give you that one. But still, it's not working overall, and you can see that reflected in the tickets. There's still a lot of them sitting comfortably with PKD. They're on 91 still, and they still have the bleed against Epsilon. And I just hate this positioning from Asterix. It's so one-dimensional. It doesn't have anything else to offer. And the individual talent of this man is phenomenal, but we're not seeing it really because he's just sitting there as a mobile turret, basically.
Yeah, you're right. There's no element of surprise. Every single time, if I was a PKD player, I would check it if Asterix or one of my team was there already, and then I would know where to push, where I could push and where I couldn't. He basically is forcing PKD to take a different route, and that route is where he comes in to meet Duke. And I mean, the Duke's frags speak volumes of that. 10 kills already. The guy is, he's got the rest of his team on his back right now. And it's 84-42. Epsilon obviously only have to battle it down. It's pretty actually level technically if you look at the tickets.
Yeah.
So it could go either way, and PKD desperate to try and secure. Well, I was going to say try and secure the A flag, and they have managed to do just that in exchange for the C, and I don't think that's going to bother them too much. There's going to be a lot of action down this road. It could be the road to success, though, as Epsilon heading towards that A flag, and I think PKD have realized it. They're going to send some numbers there, and it's going to be a bit of a heavy altercation in the meeting room.
That sounds a little bit naughty, Alex. Calm down. But yes, I tend to agree. Asterix will be trying to make his way up, and the altercation may be stopped. There's no shades of grey going down, just possibly a different colour of red on the walls. So at the moment, A being fought over, Epsilon have the numbers. Epsilon still trying to make the numbers count towards B. They've got the AB hold. For how long is the question? We still have a Nosy just kind of keeping tabs on A. He might start pushing back in any second now. He's being that nuisance every single time, and Epsilon are just struggling to win B. They have no route towards C. They need to brute force their way in, or it's game over. 78-20, they are losing this game.
Epsilon, they thought they had B. They did. They had 3 numbers around it. Duke, David, Horek. That's a huge amount of players they threw at B, only to have Hysteria stand in their way. And if they had secured that, then I wouldn't be sounding as negative as I am now, because right now this is looking like we're going to be going into a third map. Fantastic start from Epsilon, but Planetkey Dynamics whipping out every last ounce of ability they have on this stage to try and bring this into a third map. Desperate to prove themselves, and I mean, they're doing just that.
Yeah, it's a great performance from Planetkey Dynamics, playing a unorthodox play style towards it, but Epsilon just looked weak. They looked one-dimensional, using Asterix in only one way. They never really got back into the game. They're finally picking up C, but with 1 ticket left, it does not matter. PKD pick up map number 2, getting themselves back into this. That meant a lot to those guys, playing the unorthodox setup of B and C, pulling off very nicely.
I'm always happy to see that because I know how much they want this. You can see it on their faces. They're really happy with that one. They worked hard. It wasn't easy for them. It wasn't it was a hard-fought game for them. And looking towards the Epsilon corner, it's gonna be a tough talk. They're gonna be talking to them, maybe suggesting on Locker they do something a bit different. Because, I mean, Locker, it's that tight CQB. I love it a little bit because they've got the bit of both. You've got that seaside as well. And I couldn't call it. I'd probably say if you do Epsilon play there as they just did, it's going to get messy for Team Epsilon.
While I choke on water, yeah. Not live. We are not going live just yet. I was about to say, come on, guys. It's Epsilon. We're not going to go straight into the game. It's going to take another half an hour. Calm down.
I think it's actually PKD. We're going to be waiting on one of those players.
It's because we're in the Epsilon game. Have you seen this picture of Jason? I just found this beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. I'll link that on Twitter. Don't you worry. I'll give you guys a little peek on that. It's beautiful. It's doing a very sexy pose. We are still waiting on the 5th of PKD to rejoin us. But yeah, I've got to say it. Epsilon having the mentality of, well, we've got this, no worries, which is an atrocious attitude to have. They played very dull, very boring, not really switching anything up. It was this one-dimensional play that you can read into from a mile away, and it just doesn't pay off.
It certainly doesn't. I mean, now that PKD have taken a map off them, they know they're not completely immune. They know that they've got with all the right moves to secure this for them. Take that third map, and I mean, to see Epsilon go down to PKD would be huge. That would be the upset that I've been so hungry for, and I'd be really interested to see what they've got in store for us on Locker. It's one of those maps that can really start snowballing out of control. We're going to hopefully be bringing you that now, though, guys. Going to be just going for the restart, get the teams on the right sides before we go into this one. Predictions, Lauren, I think it was 70% people thought prior to this game. It was about 77, I believe, people saying Epsilon. Right now, though, with this going into this third map, I think those people might be choking on their vote.
Choking on their vote. All right, live on restart. We will be going into this one any second now. Epsilon will be on the Russian side. On the US side, it will be PKD. And as a vote, I want to see PKD do it because I think Epsilon got arrogant. I think they played cocky. I think they played very dull and boring, and I didn't like that. I prefer them to play smart and clever, but they brought none of that to the forefront, and they didn't deserve that last map at all. So Operation Locker is our deciding map between these two. Your prediction? Where are you going, buddy?
I'm gonna go PKD just because these guys. Every time I see them, they're like talking tactics, talking
Super
about previous
keen.
games.
Yeah.
They're really keen to demonstrate their ability, and they have done. And they've also demonstrated that they are not always bringing their best performance here. We are going to see Scene though. Oh, actually, and Jansen as well, heading towards the A site. Scene was kind of 1v3ing outside. I don't think that's going to come too much. In the meantime, though, Jansen charging towards A site, and look how that goes for him. Nades, AEK, just blood on the walls here in the hospital area. See, maybe that's just malpractice. Maybe it was nothing to do with them assaulting this A site. We do see B and A now under PKD controlled. And look at that.
See, this
that
is
was
the
an
unorthodox hold, right?
from Epsilon.
This is the unorthodox hold I want to see them be able to pull off. Keep them in the cold. It's a tactic that they're basically shooting from inside to out in Battlefield, especially on the snow maps. It's super easy because you get a nice little white background. Whereas when you're outside shooting in, it's so hard to see through the smoke and the fog. But Epsilon have just thrown numbers and bodies towards A, and they're going to pick it up anyway. But PKD had the opportunity then, and they kind of let it slip. I don't think they realized what of a good situation they were in.
Yeah, and look at Jansen. He's going to be under some serious scrutiny on the flag. I don't know exactly what he can do about this one. Actually, I'm not surprised. There he goes. Finally, I was waiting for him to show up. It was David who managed to, Duke to take him down. The double D combo, though. Look at this pressure. Here we go.
Squad wipe.
It's going to be a squad wipe, and that's going to be a little bit of a salty wound now. PKD need to recover as they're going to be all spawning around that B flag. They know C is not an option right now, and so they're going to have to start heading straight out towards that A mid area.
Yeah, we'll see how that comes into effect. At the moment, very close on tickets. I find there's no real definitive winner until we start seeing maybe another minute into the game. Give it a couple more seconds to find that pacing before we start judging too much, because, you know, at this point, it's switched hands so quickly on these sides. We've seen some good opening play, I think we can call it here, coming out from Epsilon, being able to work back in from being locked out just towards C. But PKD also have the opportunity to kind of turn things around themselves now, looking to maybe find an opening here and there. They look like they're building towards C. And I like the play from Janssen, holding the mid-connector pass, making sure no one can support towards that outer C site. But regardless, Marzu probably picked up the kill there, and now PKD are back to the drawing board pretty much. They need to build up a little better out of this one.
Yeah, it's a tough one. This is a large map. I mean, it's one of the larger ones. I mean, you can contrast that to Zavod we saw first. It's a map with a lot of maneuverability, a lot of room for change, and I don't think that's going to happen right now, as they are trying to get in towards A. Such a tough site to assault. We've seen it time and time again. Teams just caught in the hallway, and right now we see seen from PKD hanging out in the corner. I'm surprised he hasn't pushed up, and this is a problem now. The ticket's going to start falling away from PKD, and they can't afford to go into the second half with a large ticket deficit. They are going to be hungry to secure this site. I think it's going to be C that they're going to turn their attention to. Hysteria and Inozi, both on the outside area. And to receive them, it's going to be Horek. Janssen.
Yeah, we are seeing that push.
Oh, Horek does go down. That's going to be huge for the team. Finally, PKD find a way in to stop the bleed. The tickets were falling faster and faster. We do see now the C site goes in. B site's going to be secure enough now with Outsider just getting that distant spawn in the east area. And now look at this, though. Epsilon throwing everything they can, all their resources in. Marsu, one of them, going to be trying to defend this C flag, or maybe retake it, as it was previously theirs. Now, though, Marsu paying a heavy price. He's going to try and find someone. He's
it's a cheeky little spot.
Nearly falling out from the map.
Yeah. You can occasionally put players down there. That's where Inozi was. He was right on the edge of this one. So he was sitting down around here where you can kind of watch the site from. So it's a good position if you can play it well. But at the moment, PKD not looking so smooth now. It looks like we're seeing, you know, the Epsilon taking it a bit more seriously after what was a disappointing performance from them in the previous map. They should have been way further on point by then. They kind of let themselves down a little, I feel, with that slightly lackluster style of play. They should have been way more on point. But they just didn't realize the situation that was happening. They weren't quite keeping note of it, let's put it that way. But that all aside, back into what's really going down here. C is being fought over. You can see Hysteria is there, joined by Scene. But Marzu, I feel, in the far superior position. He's still got the high ground with him. He's got the gun. He's got the angle grip. That's the correct kind of attachment for range.
Yeah.
And he can play retake whenever he wants to. So his team will bait out through mid towards, for example, B. Then he'll start pushing in towards C once he sees the site is a little bit alleviated.
Yeah, well, I mean, 114 to 71. Epsilon really starting to hit the right pace, or been in the pace for quite a while now. Going for a A-B hold. There's something that B has been pretty much under PKD control since the game began, and Epsilon this time saying, it's okay, you've finally thrown enough resources towards C, you can have it. We'll just take your B. But actually, Inozi did respond in taking it back. You've always had a bit of a thing about this site, saying just how difficult it can be to recapture and retake.
Well, it's so hard to hold as well. You've got the back spawn there, various heights and advantages. There's so much cover as well. It just doesn't offer the consistency that the other sites do. For example, PKD have now been able to sneak through towards this A site completely uncontested near on, just because you have so many different distractions going down towards B. So they're going to get the 2-to-1, if not triple, if they can put it off correctly, unless Marzu can play this one out perfectly.
Interested to see if he does succeed. Marzu whipping out the pistol, looking to create some fire. You never know, maybe he's just going to cook up something.
He's just holding the push, I think.
Trying to keep warm, actually. It's quite cold outside on that near that C capture. And 56 to 91, Epsilon still maintaining a lead. Something we've seen them struggle with in the past. This time, not really having the same issue. Horek gonna get some teammates coming in on him on towards that A site. B is probably going to be falling pretty quickly, unless PKD do something about it. They're going to be heading in there now, looking to find Duke. Duke is maybe around now, Outsider. Look at it. I mean, this guy is in trouble. There's fire everywhere. He's going to try and get through the flare, trying to find anything to extend on towards this site, and I don't think he's going to succeed just yet, as Astrix is Now roaming around, only managed to pick up one before being taken down though. It's 88 to 46, maintaining this kind of 40 ticket advantage. And if they can set that 40 tickets like last time, then this is going to be pretty confident for Epsilon going into the second half.
Yeah, and a slightly interesting position coming out of Marzu. Actually switching up for the CZ. CZ301, not exactly the best gun at this sort of distance, but seemed happy to try and run with that one. I think he picked it up off possibly Hysteria maybe. But Epsilon once again slowing down the pace. They're not finishing out these games, which is the worrying factor. Let's bear in mind they had a substantial advantage and they kind of let it trickle away, slip away, start ignoring the factors of what's happening here. And as you can see, Epsilon having to make sure they're defending the A side. You can see David falling back, Duke being a little more aggressive, but all in all, they haven't taken into account that PKD have the C advantage. Still got Janssen in mid as well, doing a fantastic job, keeping eyes on, realizing that get seen spawn on him, they'll be able to keep the defense of B, and then maybe work back in towards A.
Yeah, I mean, this is it's a little bit inspiring. Obviously, PKD, the smaller the tickets are for either side, the better. And right now, I don't know what PKD can really do other than sit in this corridor area. You know, it can get a bit of a tunnel. Something we've seen Scene hold constantly. Yeah. As he's very effective at just sitting around that stair area. As he's already taken down 2, and he's just going to sit quite steady on those stairs. Outside of there, in the meantime, you can see, oh, hello. On the A site, nothing but spawns. Horek and Ezric's going to spread out, one towards C, one towards B. And maybe this is a bit of a lack in communications, but right now, the Epsilon resources are being spread a bit too thinly.
Don't really have focus, don't really have direction. I'm not sure what Epsilon are doing, but they are letting this slip. Really not, I just don't get it. They consistently do this. They get a huge advantage. Yeah. Get in the driving seat, they get the right sides, they lock it down. And then suddenly like, John, this doesn't seem as exciting. Let's make this closer by playing really silly and not playing the smart game that we were gonna be doing. Just do that kind of, look, they might even get trip capped here. They let this slip. Can you imagine the position they're going to be in after this?
Well, they had a 30, make it 40 ticket advantage at the start of this game, you know, with the opening play. Seeing it slip away from them now, just credit to PKD. Epsilon, you seem to be thinking Epsilon made a lot of mistakes, and I'll admit that, especially with these strange spreading of like 2 to C, not really worth the commitment, but PKD are holding strong. C-site, they know they don't need to send anyone there, and that's kind of the mistake that Epsilon had made in the past. Now we're seeing a trip cap from PKD. Epsilon's going to be crumbling. Their minds must be really kind of a little bit confused.
Fraying,
I mean, yeah, exactly. They're not really sure, and especially in Nosy, if he can play this right, you know that he's hanging around that B flag. He's just going to sit in while we see Marzu on the prowl. Whoa, I love a little 1v1 for one. The only in Battlefield, maybe. As the bullets obviously have travel time. So AC, I think we're going to see a little bit of consideration towards that. Well, it was going to be the C site, but Janssen put Horek to bed permanently, or until, of course, he does spawn back on his buddy and pal. A and C hold, 3 tickets remain, and PKD, like the phoenix from the ashes, have managed to secure, I do not know how, 30 tickets in this first half after being, say, 40 down.
It's consistently underestimating your opponent. You will get punished. They've got 1 ticket here. Maybe they can hold on, but B is being challenged. God forbid this actually goes this way. I don't want Epsilon to walk away with any advantage because they don't deserve it. They let this slip. And I'll tell you if a team deserves a win. I'll tell you how it is, but right now, certainly not the case. But I've got to say, PKD is struggling to find that final ticket in this one. 18 to 1. Horek gets the double. Finally, he goes down. Now it's just in David's hands. David left in a 1v2 pretty much. B is the side to be tried and tested here. Wow. He knows he's going to have to move in. He's going to have to find the challenge pretty damn fast. He goes for the hip fire. Not going to get it. And there we have it. PKD finally picking up the advantage on the half and well deserving of it. Epsilon, you had the game in your hands. You had a huge advantage and you just gave it on a plate to your opposition.
Jazz hands there on the PKD side, warming up, ready and waiting, gonna really bring their perfect game here. The potential is unreal to knock a giant on its back. Epsilon, someone who has constantly been an ever-present presence in the spring season. Of course, they took 2nd under Fnatic, and so looking to repeat that, maybe even better that in this one. But right now, though, PKD bringing serious firepower and into Operation Locker second half
Oh, there's a cheeky little wink thing coming out. PKD starting to look confident. Don't do the same thing that
not
Epsilon
do an
did.
Epsilon, yeah, exactly.
I don't get it though. It's so annoying to see this. They're a team who are so on the verge of doing well. They're like, look, that's almost win. Goes, no, let's not win. No, not win. That's not good. It's absolutely ridiculous.
Maybe ridiculous. All credit to PKD. The only player that's shining for me from Epsilon is Duke. I mean, that guy's had 19 frags. The guy has 19 frags. His
Duke
team may be
fine,
doing.
Right?
He's
Duke
great.
is fine. He can 1v1 like a champion, but it's not that. It's not the point of that. It's the fact that they're playing arrogant and they don't have the tickets to back it up. You underestimate PKD. That's your own fault. And PKD, slow build. They're unorthodox. They're hard to counter. And if Epsilon come in with this mentality they had on the first half, they are in trouble, and we might see Epsilon being bowed out almost by PKD. And I worry for them coming into this. 14 seconds. I think we will be going straight live, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. I believe we are. So we can get ready to start this one up. The Russian side will be Planetkey Dynamics, the underdogs in this, facing off against the giants of Epsilon, who maybe started to worry a little, because we are now live into the what could be final half here. Let's find out what we have in store. Currently we are tied at 1-1. Second half. Epsilon trying to build up. Already a good start coming out from PKD. Looking to challenge on B, looking to challenge on C, and they have A. C generally will eventually be picked up by the side that does start towards the Russian spawn, and then they can work maybe in towards whichever sides they want to hold down. However, opening play does fall slightly in favor towards Epsilon.
Wow, okay, so not a bad setup for PKD right now. Do pick up the AB, looking to go for the trip cap here, and actually the positioning of Epsilon's going to cost them, because right now, Jansen, he's going to go down. That's not going to mean, too much. Marcy with a double kill, but the fact that they're holding a triple cap would make more sense, is forcing kind of all of the numbers from Epsilon heading through the corridors, heading towards that A flag, and PKD, they're fine with that, because straight away, they sit back. And actually, I was going to say they're fine with that. If they lose B as well, this could be a sudden role reversal. Look at that, AB. And after winning that 1v1, we saw Scene go down to Marsu. It was all it took to secure an AB hold. And like I say, as the dust settles, just because of how these rounds go, especially on these maps, it can take a while before we do see an outlying kind of victor in these opening couple of seconds. Yeah,
you got to let the dust settle, really. It's so hectic, it's so fast. A triple cap is fantastic. That means someone got caught out, someone went to the wrong place at the wrong time and didn't keep it in mind. But you can see PKD now building up towards this A hit. They start the flag off. They're going to pick up Scene again. They're going to make the push together. Scene moves in, and here we go. PKD looking to take this one over. Kills coming in, however, for Marzu. Going to hold them back. Jansen needs to take him down. He does with the hit fire coming through there. And the ACWR does reign supreme in these instances. The triple comes out for Jansen, picks it up, cleans out house. A is theirs, the ideal site they maintained on C, and they know Epsilon are going to get this spawn. They can set up through mid. I'd say Scene gets towards about this spot, gets them as they cross over, and there we have it. This is what they wanted, this is what they got, and I hope they maintain this.
Look at Hysteria's position. He has set himself up like a turret right now. He's sat on a medipack, and I don't know why he's moving. That was a huge mistake from him. I don't think he needed to do that. And
I think it's to support C, basically. They started to lose out.
Okay.
So he tried to help him out a little bit by creating the crossfire, yeah.
Okay.
But as you said, they could have maybe built back out towards it, but he got a little worried, I think, and he's, obviously nerves are starting to play a factor into this there, into the final map here. 125 tickets in favor to PKD, the 113 on the position of Epsilon. Lovely work comes out with the pistol play. But Epsilon will hold on for another couple of seconds. Back spawn for Hysteria is going to be big.
I mean, look at this. Okay, so Horik trying to keep hold of B. He's not going to manage, though, as Hysteria is there. Outsider alongside him with the ACW. And Hysteria and Outsider, the Dudley duo right now. They're going to be securing that B flag. And I think it's going to be a long one, as all those...
Who's at the back there? Who's at the back?
That's Scene. He hasn't moved for a while, though. I think he's just waiting for the Epsilon team to move on. There's still two players to find. He's going to try and find one. He actually failed to take him down, and that's going to cost him, as now his whereabouts are. No, doesn't stop him taking down the hipfire on Asterix. Asterix forced to move, and we know how that can be tough for him.
Oh,
nice play. Picking apart a site single-handedly. Patience paid off, and he managed to bring a whole site home for his team. It may have cost them...
triple cap.
A bit of, well, he's going to say it's going to cost time, but look at the spawns. They're forcing Epsilon way back into that far east corner. And now I do not want to be in Epsilon's shoes right now. They're going to start shaking. They know Asterix is trying to take this site single-handedly, and I don't think that's going to be a problem for Enozy. It's the hardest name I've had to say so far.
Let's keep tabs on this. PKD spread too thin. Maybe not reinforcing the right sides because now A is being pressured by Epsilon. Backs it to the wall and they come in for the clean sweep. Marzu picking up the double. And oh, the knife comes out. David picks it up. And that is Epsilon looking damn dangerous. This is what can happen with these guys. They can turn it on a dime. He got too confident. And now they're getting punished.
Yeah, this is incredible stuff. Epsilon, it seems so back and forth, these two teams. Planetkey Dynamics, they have this sudden and awe-inspiring 20 seconds, and then Epsilon adapts, plays as a team should. And right now, I'm not sure what PKD can do in answer. I think they're doing the right. They have the right idea with Jensen heading on towards this outside area. See him, doesn't need to go just yet. He's well aware that there's going to be a presence on that site instead. We're going to have a little look at what Hysteria's got in store. He's well aware that there's going to be defense every single site. He needs to find an opening pick, and Epsilon not giving them anything right now. Outside of though, they're looking to head towards C now. What he's got in store for us, they're both going to come in out. Jansen alongside him. Outside is going to find one. Does succeed in taking down Marzu. That's going to be a big frag, and now all falls to David for Epsilon. Oh, he's going for the long range play. It's not going to be the best weapon for the job though with the AK.
They might get A as well.
This could very well have been a great kind of bait and switch from PKD. Not to be though, as Scene does fall. And great defensive play from Duke. Is being such an aggressive player can have its benefits when forced into that defensive role. Managing to secure A. Do see great play on that C flag in the meantime though with BC hold. Epsilon need to make a move fast.
And this is where those 15 tickets that are in favor to PKD will come into effect. If Epsilon drop below that, they are in severe trouble. They are not in the position they want, and they are getting a little lower here as B now being fully challenged out. They've maintained C with a fantastic work from Hysteria, not going for the ego play on towards A, going to support on C. We've got Duke trying to make a little bit of a problem out of it, but he's a lone ranger. He's doing great, but I don't think he's going to get away with that for too long.
Doesn't look like it's going to be the case. I'm interested to see how Scene succeeds in holding this one. It's actually Duke who's,
still going.
I don't doubt Duke here. He's got his teammate coming in, Horex there as well. And if any two players from Epsilon could do it, it would be them. Unless, of course,
but they take each other.
Duke nades himself. Oh. I don't believe it. And if any time in the deciding map, oh, these giants are making mistakes. And the taller the enemy, the heavier they fall at the moment for Epsilon. They're looking to be struggling now. 76 to 59, that ticket lead, it has been closed. There was a bit of an advantage as well, but you have to consider the 15 from before.
Look at this three-man stack towards the A site. Asterix spots one out, but I don't know if they're aware of everyone else. Hysteria is already in position. They're going to try a little cheeky pick up on towards C, but I think PKD have this on lock. A is going to be theirs. Janssen wins that 1v1. Here comes the counterplay from Epsilon. They must win this.
I do not believe my eyes. PKD are making all the right choices, all the right moves, and right now, though, Epsilon have managed to secure the B flag. They're going to be losing out on, oh, actually, no, they're going to be picking up A, yep, as we do see Outsider fall as well. So that's a bit of a mistake for PKD, and that's something they can't really afford to do. Fortunately, Asterix goes down with 4 players from PKD around this B area. They're going to be trying to secure B, and a BC hold at this ticket advantage. Obviously, 15 taken away from that 52. It's getting dangerously close for Epsilon. They may be a bit hot under the collar, and soon, especially looking at Marzu's positioning, he's just forced to sit in that corridor, wait for his teammates. Time is of the essence right now.
Yeah, and I've got to say, at Epsilon pretty much giving this one over towards PKD on the second map, but this has been hard fought for. This has been PKD proving they can play at par with some of the giants within this season, and Epsilon certainly being one of them, but Epsilon not done just yet. Still struggling to get back into this. Where's the respawn for PKD? Where is it going to come in? Oh God, they come in towards B. No, they still got C now on C. That's not a bad respawn there. They'll probably take that one. They'll probably take it on Janssen. There we go. A couple of players spawning in now. They're going to try and make that move in towards the A site. They need to make sure they keep hold of the C site. Oh, and they might be pincered in though. You've got Horek and Duke watching it. It's going to be hard work, but they will be focusing towards C here. couple of tickets remaining. Epsilon going to get this one close, but this could be the real big push coming out from PKD.
Yes, close, but no cigar in us. I'm going to struggle with this. Inozi managing to take it down. The offensive player is going to be just 2 now for Epsilon. Amasu and Duke, as Outsider is on the hunt. Look at Asterix, though, coming in as well, stacking up the players. They know that this is really the kind of final stand for Epsilon, and players are falling left, right, and center. 2 for 2 right now, as the trade is on the site. Horik and Asterix still standing strong, and they're going to have to wait out for the spawns. Hysteria comes in as well.
Oh, this is big.
1v1.
This is big.
Oh,
big LNC. They need this site, but look at this cautious play, careful play coming in. But he fluffs the shot. Oh no! Did he just? He just gave up the site. Scene may have just cost them near on the game here. They've maintained on A. They're just picking up B. This could still turn either way. And that one mistake may come back to haunt them, but can PKD save this in the last couple of seconds now?
This is huge right now. Scene is going to be shaking his hands more than his neck as well. I mean, he is going to be furious right now that he made that mistake. And at this stage in the game, trying to determine who is the best at Battlefield. And right now, that was certainly not something you'd expect to see at this standard of play. Right now, though, looks like PKD have recovered from his slip-up. They've managed to pick up the AB hold. And with this close ticket advantage of 27 falls beneath 15, these players are neck and neck. And if they can hold on to this site for a few more seconds, this could be a huge upset. And the German powerhouse could go through.
21-15, 5 more tickets in this one. Epsilon on the verge of losing here. They're moving in towards A. Can they turn this on the dime? PKD hedging their bets, getting out towards C. Fast rotate from Epsilon towards the B side. They're being fluid about this. This is going to go down in Epsilon's favor unless they win out on A, which they're going to try and do right now. 19 tickets to 10. It's 5 to 10, basically 18 left on the board. The next couple of kills are vital. Hysteria finds one, Outsider with another. They're choosing to pick up A. This is big. 7 tickets with a mere 3 for Epsilon. It's still up in the air. This is their final play for Epsilon. There's the 2 to 1. They need to make a move right now. 15 tickets. They're going to hit that limit any second. Nothing left. PKD have done it.
Oh my God.
Unbelievable stuff. Epsilon instantly out of the server, having none of it. And they have no one to blame but themselves. PKD proved on that final map anyone can have their day, and they just did it. Fantastic play. Wow.
That was incredible. I mean, PKD, I thought Cena had fluffed it. I thought he'd fluffed his lines, thrown it away. The power scarf there. There's very happy Germans right now. They put their heart and soul into that game. Epsilon, they're still being friendly, shaking hands. I'm sure everyone's going to be. It's a great community here at competitive Battlefield. But the fact that, I mean, that is incredible for Planetkey. They're going to want a big, deep breath of sigh of relief.
They only had 7 tickets, let's bear in mind.
Yeah.
7 tickets is nothing. And every single player stepped up then. But I can imagine seeing his heart must have just cracked under that moment. One time.
He's probably lost like a year of his life there. That's just like a big knockdown.
Because that's the one shot that should be easy. It's the gifted shot. The player's got his back to you. It's the one to land. He fluffs it. But you saw how hard they worked to get back into it. How hard they fought to make sure they picked up that final map. That was something to be remembered there. PKD, what a performance. You back these guys from the start as well. That's the thing I love. You're like, do you know what? I like the underdogs. I think they've got talent here. I think they've got a chance. I think your team just step up for you.
I'm a very happy bunny right now. Kaplan, our other caster, laughed at me when I mentioned PKD. I thought they could maybe get close to that 30,000 euros, and they just got one hell of a step closer to 30,000. They're going to be going on to play the scary Giants of Fnatic, I believe. But right now, let's jump to Paul with an interview.
Yes, thank you very much, Alex. What an amazing way to win. A terrific game all round, really, really close. Backwards and forwards, you win the first half of the first map, you lose the second half, then you lose the first half of the second map, but you win the second half. I mean, just such an intense game. How are you? What's going on right now for you?
Yeah, I don't know. It was really amazing to also on Sawat. We made a big comeback. Then, we pulled it off in the second round. Then on Dawnbreaker, we managed to be. I think we managed to be pretty good in the first round, and then fucked up the complete second round. And then, on Dawnbreaker, it was close all the time, very intense, and in the end, we had like 5 tickets advantage. I don't know it, so.
Yeah, got down to the last 7 or 8 tickets, and what's going through your mind as a team? What are you trying to say to the guys? Or are you just too, is there too much going on?
I don't know. You're so focused and then about to not lose your next one-on-one, and that could be the last one-on-one. It could be game-changing, and then when you see you have the 2 flags and then the ticket's going down, you calm down and you're like, you win, and that's a really great feeling.
We've seen you sort of grow as a team all the way from the first season of EMS and get better and better and better each season. What does it mean to you to reach the semi-finals and play Fnatic right now?
Yeah, it's a big step for us, honestly, because we had to change our lineup before these finals, and we couldn't train much, but now we pulled off to beat Epsilon. We were close to it last season already, and now we beat the number 2. So it's a really good, great step and a good feeling.
So, got to beat number 1 next.
We will see. Fnatic is going to be very strong, but we will see what we can do.
Well, best of luck to you and congratulations. Planetkey Dynamics, ladies and gentlemen, through to the semi-final to play last season's champions, and that game will coming up very shortly. We are going to turn our attention next to the semi-finals. We'll be back after this.